The illusion of progress, why the system was never built for us. And today I thought I would shine a light in a dark corner because a lot of Europeans are not rich. They have been used and abused just like we have been. But I can't be concerned about them because when they're used against us, then that's their problem. But this is directly aimed at them, but applies to us also. We live in a world where the wealthiest 1% control more than half of global resources. They look like us, like them, speak like them, claim to be or represent them, but their loyalty is not to the people. It is to power, profit, and those who look and have the same things they have. And people would not believe that until just now. But before we go further, I'd like to define two terms that shape modern world, politics, society, and everything else. Marxism, a theory that was developed by Karl Marx that argues society is divided into classes, the wealthy owners, the working class, and that history moves through class struggle. Marx believed workers would eventually overthrow the system to create equality. And we know that to be one of the most foolish things that ever happened because the rich have used the working class against minorities and to get everything that they want by putting them as slave catchers and overseers. But the table that they thought they were going to eat from, they are now getting the crumbs and now they feel it. Capitalism, an economic system where private individuals or corporations own businesses and resources aiming for profit. It thrives on competition, markets, accumulation of wealth. In theory, it promises opportunity for all. But in practice, it concentrates power in the hands of the few. So if you can see the similarities between Marxism and capitalism, that's good. And if you can't, sorry for you. Now, why do these matter? Because the principles behind capitalism, the pursuit of profit over people, haven't changed. And while Europeans once believed they were part of progress, they are now feeling what colonized people have endured for centuries and exploitation. And I don't feel sorry for you because you don't feel sorry for me. But then again, our own people don't feel sorry for us. We're going to talk about the few and the masses because that's what it breaks down to. And I'm going to tell you about a man named Stokely Carmichael who became Kwame Ture, who reminded us that modern economic systems were built on European industrial history, but ignored colonial realities. The wealth of Europe and America was built on enslaved Africans, exploited Asians, and stolen indigenous lands. Marx never dealt with colonialism. He saw the struggles of African people as central to the revolutionary. He never saw the struggles of African people as central to the revolutionary movement. Today, the same blindness persists. Governments talk about middle-class prosperity, but policies from tax breaks for billionaires to austerity show that they truly serve only one group of people, and that's the billionaires of 1%. Ordinary Europeans were promised inclusion into the dream, but they never were part of the design. They were tools, fools, used to build wealth for the elite. then discarded when automation and outsourcing became expendable. Watch what AI do to y'all. You understand? Division is the weapon. Class versus race and colonialism. Touré warned that focusing on class ignores how racism and colonialism fuel global inequality. Capitalism thrives on division, race, nationality, religion, because divided people cannot unify against exploitation. Class struggle is important, but if you ignore racism and colonialism, you are ignoring how capitalism really works globally. Today, the same playbook runs strong. Workers in Europe are told immigrants are the problem. America too. Communities of color are blamed for economic decline. Meanwhile, the real enemy, the concentration of wealth and power, remains untouched behind the curtains. You never see them. You don't hear from them because they just send out orders. But this is not accidental. It's strategy. See, the power of the marginalized, the revolutionary role of the colonized. Touré believed that the most revolutionary forces were among the oppressed in Africa, Asia, Latin America, not in Europe's factories. Why? Because those who suffer most fight hardest for change. Today, global movements from climate justice in the global south to anti-austerity protests in Europe show that the fight for dignity is universal. But history teaches us when the marginalized rise, the system responds with suppression through laws, policing, and propaganda. Individual success is not liberation. Touré rejected the myth that one person's rise changes the condition of the masses. Who in the hell cares if Michael Jordan or Steph Curry, and I like the way they play basketball and everything else, but their rise don't mean nothing for the masses, and you can get mad at me all you want. But a billionaire athlete or a CEO of color does not dismantle systematic inequality. Representation without redistribution is a mirage. Today we celebrate success stories while ignoring the millions remain trapped in poverty, debt, and insecurity. The system loves these stories because they keep us chasing individual advancement instead of collective liberation. Organize, don't mobilize. Mobilization is when you get the people to move. Organization is when you keep them moving. Hashtag, trend, protest, erupt. Without structure, movements fade. The elite know this. That's why they always fear organized community, because organization builds power that lasts beyond headlines. Look, the foundations haven't changed. The same system that colonized Africa now exploits Europe working class. The same greed that stole land now steals pensions, healthcare, and housing. Same logic that dehumanized the colonized now devalues the lives of ordinary citizens. So what do? Reject the myth of individual salvation, expose the lies of division, organize for justice, not just for a day, but for a lifetime. Because until we unite, the 1% will keep winning. And the masses, whether in Lagos or London, Harlem or Hamburg, will keep losing. The struggle is not about one person's success. It's about the liberation of all people. And I will tell you this. He mostly directed his conversations to college people that was going to think and move the world, because he knew you sitting on your big fat ass ain't going to do nothing. All you're going to do is talk. And the ones that do have something, you are too scared to lose what you got, but you're going to lose it anyway. I hope you don't, but the way things are going right now,